فله عشر أمثالها ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها وهم لا يظلمون.
The theme of today's khutbah is on consolation of the troubled. All praise is due to Allah, who had approved for us Islam as religion. He brought the heart of the believers together, so they became by His favor brothers. He expanded their chests and filled them with love and affection. I bear witness that none deserves the right to be worshipped except Allah alone, who has no partner. And I also bear witness that our Master Muhammad ﷺ is His servant and messenger, whose love and goodness towards others supersedes that of all creatures. May the blessings of Allah be upon him, his household, his companions, and those who follow their path till the last day. Fear Allah, O servants of Allah, and hold on to the rope of Allah all together and don't differ. The rope of Allah is His holy book, His straightened deen, and His straight path. Verily, holding on to it means acting by His commands and abstaining from what He forbids. Islam is the biggest factor that raises the status of a nation, and it is a foundation for unification of its word, coupled with achieving its core desires. Islam enjoins having one voice, unification of goals, and showing love and affection. It is important to know that Islam's main goal is the affirmation of oneness of Lord of the world, submitting to Him solely without associating Him with others, seeking only His approval for whatever act of worship, collaborating with one another regarding any issue that would lift the deen and strengthen it, and protecting the deen and the people of the deen. Muslims are supposed to be, wherever they are, one hand. They should feel the pain of one another. They should strengthen one another, and they should hasten towards solving one another's problems, or at least consoling one another during the times of need. Allah says, "And cooperate in righteousness and piety, but do not cooperate in sin and aggression." The noble Prophet ﷺ also said, "The relationship of the believer with another believer is like the bricks of a building. Each strengthens the other." He also said, "The believers in their mutual kindness, compassion, and sympathy are just like one body. When one of the limbs suffers, the whole body responds to it with wakefulness and fever." Verily, Islam is a pact of brotherhood between believers through their belief. Allah says, "The believers are but brothers." This brotherhood has its rights. It is therefore mandatory to guard such and work in line with that they entail. Brotherhood in the cause of belief or faith is closer and stronger than brotherhood of dissent without faith. Allah the Exalted had expelled love from between a son and a dad, and from among siblings if one of them is an unbeliever. Just as Allah says, "You will not find a people who believe in Allah and the last day having affection for those who oppose Allah and His Messenger, even if they were their fathers or their sons or their brothers or their kindred." The Messenger ﷺ had explained to us the rights of a Muslim on a Muslim, as it is in a hadith agreed upon, narrated by Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu. The Messenger ﷺ said, "A Muslim is a brother of another Muslim, so he should not oppress him, or should he hand him over to his shaitan or to his self, which is inclined to evil. Whoever fulfills the needs of his brother, Allah will fulfill his needs. Whoever removes the troubles of his brother, Allah will remove one of his troubles on the day of resurrection. And whoever covers up the fault of a Muslim, Allah will cover up his fault on the day of resurrection." In a different hadith agreed upon, the Messenger ﷺ said, "No one of you becomes a true believer until he likes for his brother what he likes for himself." That's why you find that the companions are ahead of us in terms of loving one another and helping one another. Consolation, selflessness, and mercy were metamorphosed among them. One of them would put his brother first before himself in a matter, even if he is in need of it. Allah has described them in His book, saying, "They love those who immigrated to them and find not any want in their breasts of what the emigrants were given, but give them preference over themselves, even though they are in privation." A hadith narrated by Bukhari and Muslim through Abu Huraira. Abu Huraira said, "A man came to Allah's Messenger ﷺ and said, 'O Allah's Messenger, I am suffering from fatigue and hunger.' The Prophet ﷺ sent somebody to his wives to get something, but the Messenger ﷺ found nothing with them. Then Allah's Messenger said to his companions, 'Isn't there anybody who can entertain this man tonight so that Allah may be merciful to him?' An Ansari man got up and said, 'I will entertain him, O Allah's Messenger.' So he went to his wife and said to her, 'This is the guest of Allah's Messenger, so do not keep anything away from him.' She said, 'By Allah, I have nothing but the children's food.' He said, 'When the children ask for their dinner, put them to bed and put out the light. We shall not take our meals tonight.' She did so. In the morning, the Ansari man went to Allah's Messenger ﷺ, who said, 'Allah was pleased with,' or he said, 'He bestowed His mercy on so and so.' He mentioned that companion and his wife. Then Allah revealed afterwards the verse, 'But give them preference over themselves, even though they were in need of that.' O servants of Allah, these are the attributes of true believers. These are the attributes of those who desire Allah's countenance, who wish Allah's reward, who desire His heaven. These are their attributes. Allah says in His magnificent book, 'Indeed, Allah has purchased from the believers their lives and their properties. In exchange for that they will have paradise.' You should emulate them, O Muslims. Imitate their actions, lest Allah will have mercy upon you. It's time for you to strengthen your iman. It's time for you to relate to your Lord with what brings you close to Him, through spending for His sake and through being generous to your brothers with whatever you can. There are a lot of people afflicted with catastrophes of drought, hunger and poverty. Children die from hunger and illnesses as a result of malnutrition. And you are, O servants of Allah, flipping in your pleasures. You eat from numerous dishes at a time. You are comfortably covered in the cloth of health. You should therefore praise Allah for His bounty, thank Him for His blessings upon you by giving. O Muslims, remember your brothers in faith, those who we share religious background with. How do we forget our brothers while we hear about their stories? We know about their condition, but our eyes don't have any tears. Our hearts don't feel any pain, and we don't contribute anything towards helping them. If at all we have the real brotherhood, which is built on faith, we would have hastened towards rescuing them. We would have extended a helping hand, following what Allah says, and gives wealth in spite of love for it to relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveler, those who ask, and for freeing slaves. Giving out does not harm you, O brother. It is rather better for you, because whatever you give out is saved for you by Allah, and what is with Allah is better and secure. Allah says, "And spend in the way of Allah from what we have provided you before death approaches one of you, and he says, 'My Lord, if only you would delay me for a brief term, so I would give charity and be among the righteous. Verily, he who Allah has given what is sufficient of wealth, then thank Allah for that, gives it out as ordained by Allah, such has thanked his Lord in the proper way, and he will surely get more of pleasures and blessing in his wealth, children, and life from his Creator. On the other hand, he who Allah has given wealth, but does not know the rights of Allah in it, does not sympathize with the needy among his Muslim brothers, and does not execute the obligations upon him as ordained by Allah, and is miserly, such has subjected himself to tribulations, expulsion of his pleasures by Allah, and he will surely regret on a day neither wealth nor children will be of help. Finally, it is imperative at this juncture for this pulpit to remind governments at all levels to put the interest of their weak and vulnerable first. This can be achieved through extensive and transparent poverty eradication programs, feeding the poor, empowering the weak, among others, because that is an obligation upon their necks that they are going to be asked on a day neither power nor wealth would be of help to anyone. Also, individuals have a responsibility, no matter how minute, of helping the poor, the vulnerable, and the internally displaced persons. Extend your arms and help to them, either directly or through bodies like the one we have here in the center, ICICE Care, where contributions like foodstuff, clothes, relief materials, and so on are collected and extended to the needy on behalf of the donors. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our intentions whenever we give out in charity and accept it from us. Wa subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.